Hi, good morning. My name is Victor. This is Javon. Welcome to Down Yoga. And today we have all levels flow. We'll be working along the shoulders today. So let's get started in child's pose. And have here your arms extended forward. Spread your fingers wide. And create tension pressing the palms of the hands down to the floor. The arms are active. Bring the attention to the breath. And keep pushing with your hands, lengthening both sides of the waist as if you're pushing your hips towards your heels. And watch how the breath comes in and out. Consciously taking deeper, slower breaths gradually. Using all four sides of the torso for the breath. Notice the sound building on the back of the throat for victorious breath, Ujjayi Pranayama. And try to stay connected to the sound of the breath as we move through class. Slowly can roll up to a tabletop position. Align your shoulders your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips, and follow with your own breath a few rounds of cat and cow here. And as you do this cat and cow, try to keep your shoulder blades broad, even when you arch your back. Keep moving the shoulder blades apart from each other. Try not to bring them together the best you can. Every time we arch our back, we feel like we have to bring the shoulder blades together, but that's almost like compensating the roundness of the upper back. If you keep the shoulder blades wide apart, you can see how much you can arch the upper back without the compensation of the shoulder blades. And go through it one more time. When you come into cat pose, keep your back rounded now. Take your chin into your chest and push your hands a little more, spinning the triceps back, creating lift through the arms. Firm the shins down, engaging the legs, draw the navel in. Try to round a little more. Now bring your spine back to neutral. Walk your hands to the top of your mat, and then set your elbows down to the floor. From here, bring the palms together. Bend your elbows, bring the palms behind your head. Drop the head down to the floor, drop the chest. Lift your hands up towards the ceiling. Move the hips further back. There you go. Yes. Yeah, like a puppy dog with the elbows bent. And this is one option. If you have a block at home, you can place the block in between the hands and do the same thing. It gets a little deeper into the shoulder that way. Yes, and you can do it with or without the block. If you don't have the block, don't worry, keep the palms together. Keep the breath still going all the way to the top of the chest. Lower the hands down to the floor. And hands as wide as the shoulders again. You can tuck your toes under, move your hips back into downward facing dog. And on the first down dog, it's your choice. You can find stillness here, keeping your legs straight. Or if you need, pedal your feet, finding any movement that you need. Moving your hips around, bending one knee at a time. But try to keep the weight even on both of your hands. And pressing a little more with the base of your index finger the best you can. Spinning the triceps down. And the shoulder blades is still moving to the sides of the waist, the sides of the rib cage. And looking between your feet, if you can see your heels, try to hide your heels behind your ankles. So your inner thighs are spinning slightly back, and the hips moving back away from the shoulders, lengthening the sides of the waist. Inhale slowly, bring your shoulders forward into a plank pose. Lift your chest a little more away from the floor, shoulder blades broad. From the quads, direct your tailbone towards your heels. An option to set your knees down to the floor or not. Bring your shoulders slightly forward past your wrists. Bend your elbows, elbows bending back for Chaturanga Dandasana. Hold here. Keep squeezing the quads, hugging the navel in. Push back up into plank. And with an exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more like that with our breath. Inhale, plank pose. Keep moving your shoulders forward, bend your elbows back for Chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, push up into plank. Exhale, down dog. One more time, come forward, plank pose, inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, press up into plank. Exhale, down dog. Again, still breathing through the whole body. Keep pressing the front of your thighs back towards your hamstrings. And then slowly you can walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees as much as you need. Move the weights to the front of your feet. Get a little light on the heels. Bind the hands behind your back. Interlace the fingers. And then keeping the knee bent, fold, release the tension in the neck, reach the knuckles up. Keep trying to move the hips forward. If you feel there is more weight on the heels, try to bring the weight towards the base of the toes. Keep spreading your toes wide on the floor as well. And breathe, slow and deep. You can let go of the clasp of the fingers, release your hands down to the floor. With an inhale, come halfway up, place the hands in front of the shins, maybe on the side of the shins, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, walk forward into plank again. Walk with your hands, plank pose. Now bring your forearms down to the floor. And bring the palms of the hands together. Step your feet together as well. And roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Keep your feet stacked. Now reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and place your left palm down to the floor for side plank, forearm side plank. And bring the attention to the shoulder blades again. Try to slide the shoulder blades down onto your back ribs so the shoulders move away from the ears. You're getting more long through the neck. Keep active with the legs. Flip your right palm forward, reach the arm overhead. Try to lift your hips a little higher as if you're trying to do a side bend. Point the right fingertips down to the floor. Keep the breath slow. Reach the right hand up to the ceiling again. Set your right forearm down to the floor. Bring the palms close together again. Take a deep inhale here. Raise your heels. Keep your feet touching, feet together. Now roll to the outer edge of the right foot. Reach the left hand up. Place the right palm down to the floor. Keep the legs engaged again. Point your tailbone to your heels. Flip the palm forward and reach the arm overhead. Keep pulling the belly button in as if you're trying to bring the belly button towards the spine to support your lower back. Move your hips a little higher to a side bend. Point the fingertips down to the floor. Get inhale, reach up. Exhale, set your left forearm down to the floor. Raise your heels again. Step your feet about as wide as the hips again. And then one arm at a time, come up into plank pose. And then move your hips back into downward facing dog. Deep, slow breaths. Now raise your heels high, inhale, looking between your hands, bend your knees. You can either step or hop to the front of the mat. Use your inhale to lengthen, come halfway up, straighten the back. Exhale, fold forward. With a deep inhale, let's reach all the way up into Urdhva Hastasana. And keep reaching here as high as you can. Interlace the fingers together again. Flip the palm up towards the ceiling. And try to bring the biceps as far back as you can without arching the back. So point your tailbone down. And if you feel a big bend here on the lower back, you can reach the arms slightly forward. So the arms are in front of the ears. Keep lifting the front of your hips up. Try to reach a little higher. Either way, your biceps next to the ears or slightly forward. And keep reaching here. Firm the soles of the feet down to the floor, pressing the quads back. And imagine the bottom tip of the shoulder blades moving to the side of the rib cage, just the bottom of the shoulder blade. See if you can notice that move, the movement. Maybe look up to your hands for one deep breath. Release the palms of the hands, bring the hands next to the body, palms facing forward into Tadasana. Take a few deep breaths here again, toes touching, a small gap in between your heels. Engaging the quads back. Let's do a few sun salutation. Take a deep inhale, reach, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinging at the hips, fold forward, bend your knees as much as you need. With an inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands. You can either step or jump back. Halfway down to Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. And every time we come into Downward Facing Dog, keep the attention with the breath. Notice how the prana is flowing. The legs active, firming the quads. Inhale, looking between your hands. And bend your knees. As you exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, reach to the ceiling. Maybe allow your palms to touch, looking between your hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, let's reach up. Exhale, straight back, Uttanasana, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, plant your hands. You can step or hop back, halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, tops of the feet on the floor, Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale, hips back, Downward Facing Dog. Let's take a few deep, slow breaths here again. Still pushing evenly through both hands. You can raise your heels, inhale, bend your knees. With an exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen straight back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. Get really long. Exhale, hands together, Samastiti. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, slowly reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, plant your hands. Make your way back into Chaturanga, step or hop. Untuck your toes. Inhale, Up Dog or Cobra. With an exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Again, still a few deep, slow breaths here. Then reach the right leg back with a deep inhale. Bend your knee, stack your hips, bring the right foot to the left. Try to move the right shoulder further down towards the floor, so your chest is still squared. Keep moving the hips back. Inhale, reach the right leg back, three-legged dog again. Bring your shoulders over the wrists, keep reaching the right leg. Spread the shoulder blades here, lift your chest a little higher away from the floor. Now bend your knee, bring your knee into your nose, round your back. Keep hugging the navel in. Spinning the triceps back. Try to spread the shoulder blades a little more. Stay for another breath. And then lightly right foot in between your hands. Spin your left heel down to the side, aligning heel to heel. Keep your right hand next to the right foot or bring the elbow on top of the thigh. Reach the left hand up to the ceiling for side angle pose. Keep firming the outside of the left foot down. Now bring your left hand behind your head, pointing your elbow up to the ceiling. And try to move the left elbow as far back as you can, firming the shoulder blades into the back ribs. So you're broadening the chest, broadening the collarbones. Try to get a little lighter on the toes, keep the weights on the heels. Try to move your left elbow a little further back. Now reach the left hand up to the ceiling. Bring the gaze down towards the right foot with a deep inhale, warrior two. And firm the inner thighs towards each other. Hug the navel in. Now reach both arms up towards the ceiling. And bend your right elbow and hold the right elbow with your left hand. Try to keep the forearms behind your head. And the right hand, bring in between the shoulder blades. Bring the right hand down. There you go. Like a Ardha Gomukhasana arms. And if you can take into Gomukhasana, you can bring the left arm behind, under, and you can grab your shirt or bind the hands. Keep bending the right knee. The right leg would be burning here, being here for a while. Now with an inhale, move into a reverse warrior like this, holding the hands. Expand the right side of the waist. Try to push the back of your head towards the right forearm, opening the shoulder, broadening the chest. Stay for another deep inhale. Release the Gomukhasana arms. Circle your hands down to the floor. Lift your left heel off the floor. Keep your left hand down. Reach the right hand up to the ceiling. Little twist. Now flip your palm back. The right palm flipping back. Bend your elbow. Wrap the arm behind your back. Bring the shoulder further back. Find more twist through the back. And reach the left heel a little more. Engaging the left thigh. Inhale, reach your right hand up to the ceiling. Exhale, set it down. Step back into plank. Move through a vinyasa to downward facing dog. And notice how the breath's flowing once you arrive in downward facing dog. With a deep breath, reach your left heel straight back, leg parallel with the floor. Now bend your knees, stack the hips again, bring the left foot to the right, and move the left shoulder further down to the floor, having your chest level, your shoulders level with the floor, with each other. Try to move your hips a little further back, pushing with your hands. Inhale, reach the left leg back again, three-legged dog. Square your hips. Bring your shoulders forward, keep reaching the left leg, shoulders over the wrists. Push down with your hands, spread your shoulder blades as wide as you can. Bend your knee, bring your knee into your nose, round your back. Keep rounding, bring the chin in towards the chest. Spin the triceps back. Stay for another breath. And then slowly left foot in between your hands. Lower the right heel to the side, align heel to heel. Keep your left hand down to the floor, or you can bring the elbow on top of your thigh, reach the right hand up to the ceiling. And pull your chest up towards the ceiling. Bring the right hand behind your head, open the elbow back, open the shoulder. And think of driving the shoulder blades into your back ribs so you find a little more broadness through the collarbones and the chest. Keep pointing your tailbone towards the right heel, so you're not arching the lower back here. Try to move the right elbow a little further back. Two more breaths. Now reach the right hand up to the ceiling again. Look down to your left foot. With a deep inhale, come up into Warrior Two. And if you need to readjust the feet, do so. Keep the bend on the left knee. The left knee is tracking over the second and the third toe. Reach your hands up towards the ceiling. Now you'll bend your left elbow, place your left hand in between your shoulder blades, and hold the left elbow with the right hand for a bit. Try to get a deeper stretch here. Maybe bring your left hand a little further down in between the shoulder blades. You can stay right here, or take into full Gomukhasana arms. Maybe bind your hands or hold on to your shirt. And on this position here, think of rolling the shoulders back and the chest forward. Avoid bringing the shoulders forward here. Still trying to broaden the chest as much as you can. And then from here, find a reverse warrior. Bring the shoulders back, expanding the left side of the waist. Send a deep breath to your left ribs. Bend your left knee a little deeper. Push with your right heel a little more. Now release the Gomukhasana, circle your hands down to the floor. You plant your right palm and reach your left hand up to the ceiling. Pivot your right heel up so the right heel is pointing up to the ceiling. Try to get as long as you can as you reach the right heel back. Reach the top of your chest forward, the same direction as the crown of the head. Now flip your palm back and wrap your arm behind your back. Open up the shoulder a little more, as if you're reaching the chest up to the ceiling. And keep hugging the left inner thigh towards your rib cage, keeping the knee above the ankle. Stay for another deep breath. Now inhale, reach the hand up to the ceiling. Exhale, left hand down to the floor. Step back into plank. Move through a vinyasa to downward facing dog. Three deep, slow breaths. Try to keep the inhale and exhale even the best you can. Slowly inhale, looking between your hands. Raise your heels, bend your knees. With an exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen, halfway up. As you exhale, bend your knees and reach your hands up towards the ceiling for Utkatasana. Move the weight to your heels. Now reach your arms next to your body. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Reach your knuckles back. Keep rolling the shoulders back. The chest is forward. Broaden the chest the best you can. Now lift your left heel about an inch off the floor. And as slow as you can, we're moving to Warrior 3 from here with the hands interlaced behind your back. You can keep your right knee bent. It's a little easier to bring the leg and the torso parallel with the floor. And the right leg doesn't have to be 100% straight. And from here you pick. If you want, you can straighten the leg. And keep firming the left heel as far back as you can. Keep reaching the top of the chest forward. And you're still pushing the shoulder blades into the back ribs, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Now release the clasp of the hands, bring the hands to heart center. And as slow as you can, bend your standing leg, step back into a lunge, reach your hands up for crescent pose. From here, pull the frontal hip bones up, so the position of the pelvis is neutral. You're not arching the lower back too much, keeping the natural curve of the lower back. And the left knee can stay bent here. Now bend your elbows, bring it to a cactus arms, and bring the elbows as far back as you can. Squeeze the shoulder blades together again. Lift the top of your chest, try to find a small back bend from the upper back. Inhale, you can reach up one more time. Take a deep breath. Exhale, lower the hands down to the floor. Runner's lunge, take a moment here. Keep the left palm planted, roll to the outside of the left foot, and you can take any variation of side plank. The left knee can touch the floor. You can align the right foot right in front of the hips for another type of variation. There you go. Or keep your feet stacked. 2 more breaths here. Now lower your right hand down to the floor. Plank pose. Feet about as wide as the hips again. Lower your forearms down to the floor. This time, keep your forearms parallel to each other. If you have a block at home, you can place the block in between the hands, but keep the palms down to the floor. So make a L with your thumb and your index finger, and the block will fit right in there. Now walk your feet forward for dolphin. Try to keep the shoulders right above the elbows the best you can, and reach the chest towards the front of your thighs. Push the heels down to the floor. 5 breaths here. Keep driving the palms of your hands, the elbow, the forearms down to the floor. Stay connected to the breath. You can walk your feet back into a forearm plank. And hug the navel in, engage the quads. And then one arm at a time, come up into a plank pose. You can set the block to the side. And then with or without a vinyasa, move into downward facing dog. Three slow breaths here. Keep your gaze steady at one point. The breath steady and even. Now raise your heels high, inhale. Bend your knees, look forward. With an exhale, step or hop forward. Inhale, lengthen, halfway up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Now bend your knees, sink your hips low, come back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Get long through the side body again. Spinning the biceps to your ears. One more breath. Now exhale, lower the arms next to the body. Interlace the hands behind your back. Reach with your knuckles. Roll the shoulders back. Broaden the chest. Now pick your right foot about an inch off the floor. As slow as you can, we'll move into Warrior 3 again with the hands behind your back. Keep reaching the knuckles. You can keep your left knee bent to start with. And try to reach the chest and the right heel in opposite directions. So you're reaching them apart from each other, getting pretty long. And if you want, you can straighten the left leg. 3 more deep, slow breaths. Try to keep your right toes pointing down to the floor. Release the clasp of the hands, hands together in front of your heart. As slow as you can with control, bend the standing leg. We'll step back into a lunge. Reach your hands up, crescent pose. And try to reach more with your back body, lifting from the back ribs. Point your tailbone down to the floor. Release the left toes, pushing down with your left heel. Now bend your elbows, bring to a cactus arms. Keep moving the heads of your shoulders back. Try to bring the elbows as far back as you can. Push the shoulder blades together. And try to lift a little more with the top of the chest. Find a very small back bend, like in Cobra. Inhale, reach up again, crescent pose. Exhale, lower your hands down to the floor into runner's lunge. Take a moment here, lengthen from the heel to the top of the head. And then plant your right palm, roll to the outside of the right foot. Any variation of side plank, Vashisthasana. Another 3 deep breaths here. Try to keep moving the shoulders away from the ears, so the shoulder blades are sliding down onto your back ribs. Keep squeezing the quads, tailbone pointing to your heels. Now lower the left hand down to the floor, plank pose. Lower your forearms down to the floor again. And you can use the block again in between your hands. Keep the palms down to the floor. And using the block is optional. You can use it or not. Keep pressing the palms down to the floor. Now lift your right foot about an inch off the floor. And then bring your right knee into your right triceps. Step your right foot back. Now lift your left toes about an inch off the floor, very little. Then bring your left knee into your left triceps. And then step back. Lift your right foot, knee to triceps. Step your right foot back. Lift your left foot. Bring your left knee to the left triceps. Step it back. Lift your right toes, knee to triceps, and hold this time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step your right foot back. Bring your left knee to your left triceps. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step it back. And then walk your feet forward to dolphin pose. Reach your right leg up and back. Inhale. Keep reaching as far as you can with your heel. And then lower the right leg down. Inhale, reach your left leg up and back. Keep pushing the hands and the forearms down to the floor. Shoulder blades active. Step your left foot down. Walk your feet back into a forearm plank again. And then come into plank one arm at a time. Move your hips back into down dog. And take a break in child's pose. To relax the shoulders here, I like to reach the hands over my thighs and grab my feet. See if that works for you or not. It's just me. Maybe it works for me. You can keep reaching the hands forward. And just melt. Melt down to the floor. Try to slow down the breath. How are the shoulders? Good. I would take that as a yes. And then reach the hands towards the front of the mat again. Press the palms down to the floor. You can take your toes under and move back into downward facing dog. Inhale, reach back with the right leg. Exhale as slow as you can. Bring your knee to your nose. And keep thinking about the movement of the shoulder blades here. You want to spread them, pushing the floor away from you. Lift your chest away from the floor, create more space for your foot. And then step the right foot inside your right thumb. Reach your hands up into a crescent pose. Grow through the sides of the waist. Hands together in front of your heart. Take a deep inhale first. And with an exhale, twist to your right. Left elbow outside the right thigh. You can take any variation on this one. You can set your left knee down to the floor if you need to. You can spread the arms wide, left hand down, right hand up. Or you can take a half bind or a full bind. Stay with your breath the best you can. 3 more deep, slow breaths. Trying to bring the shoulder further back. That's the right shoulder, right? On twist pose, I always get confused, right and left. Stay for another deep inhale. Exhale, plant your hands down to the floor. Take a vinyasa or skip. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Three breaths here in down dog. Settle with the breath again. Notice where you're pushing with your hands. Try to keep the weight again, as we're saying, at the base of the index finger. So you're protecting the outer wrist. With an inhale, reach your left leg back. And then as slow as you can, bring your knee into your nose. Round your back, push the floor down away from you. Lift your chest a little higher, and then step your left foot in between your hands, come up into crescent pose. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Hands together. Inhale. And use your exhale to twist. Try to do the same thing you did on the first side. If you placed your knee on the floor, the back knee, you can do that again. You can keep pressing the palms together or spread your arms wide, right hand down, left hand up. Half bind or full bind. Take your time. 3 more breaths. With your next exhale, bring both hands down to the floor. Step back into plank. You can skip the vinyasa or not, your choice. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From this down dog, come back into plank pose. Forearms down to the floor. Forearm plank. Press it down. And then lower the hips down to the floor, moving to Sphinx. Untuck the toes, point the toes back. Now bend your right knee. Reach your right hand back for Ardha Bekasana. You can hold inside of the right foot. If you can do this, as Jovan just did, to flip the palm, pointing the fingers forward, you can do that. This is sometimes tricky on some shoulders. You can just keep holding the outside of the foot, or maybe bring the foot inside the elbow. That's another option. There you go. Thank you. Try to move the right shoulder further forward wherever you are, and push the right hip point down to the floor. You can slowly release the right foot, come back into Sphinx pose. Now bring the right forearm parallel with the front of the mat. Bend your left knee and grab the inside of the left foot. You can keep holding the foot that way, or bring the foot inside the elbow, or flip your left palm, pointing the fingers forward. Try to square the shoulders to the front of the mat. Drive the left side of the hip down to the floor. Slowly let go of the left foot. Come back into Shiving's pose. Firm the palms of the hands down to the floor, firm the elbows, and start pushing. Keep your feet about as wide as the hips here. And push the tops of the feet down to the floor the most you can. Try to push down with the pinky toe side, the outer edge, yes. And then point your tailbone down towards your heel. Squeeze your quads the best you can. And then as you inhale, lift your hips off the floor this way. Lift your legs. Try to keep tucking the tailbone here to protect your lower back. Spread your shoulder blades wide. And notice here the action of the legs. You squeeze the quads. Keep hugging the navel in. Slowly lower down. Lift your chest up and forward. We'll do that 2 more times. Start firming the tops of the feet again. The pinky toe side, and then tuck your tailbone, hugging the navel in. Squeeze your quads, inhale, lift your hips off the floor. Try to lift your chest a little higher away from the floor. Feel the stretching between the shoulder blades as you push the forearms down. Slowly lower down. Lift your chest up and forward. Again, firm the tops of the feet, the pinky toe, and then engage the quads, tuck the tailbone, bring the navel in. Inhale, lift your hips for 10, 9, spread your shoulder blades wide, lift your chest. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. If you want to stay for a little longer, you can. Or come back into Shiving's pose. Lift your chest up and forward. And just for a few breaths, try to do like a yin style of Shivings. Relax the shoulders. You can even relax the neck. Relax the legs. And after this one, we'll work on Pincha Mayurasana, the forearm balance. At home, you can move towards the wall if you need the wall as a safeguard. And one thing that I like to use the block that helps a lot with balance and the stability of the shoulders. So you can choose to use the block or not. That's your choice, okay? And then you're going to tuck your toes under from here. Engage the quads again. Point your tailbone towards the heel first to protect your lower back. And come up into a forearm plank. If you are at the wall at home, just keep doing the same thing. Walk your feet forward. And you don't have to use the block. You use the block if you want to. And then with the right or left leg, see which one is best for you to kick up. Reach one leg up. And then you can hop up a few times. Trying to come up into Pincha. I got you. Sorry. I should tell you that I was here. And then you can kick up, find your balance. And then squeeze the thighs together, point your toes. Keep hugging the navel in, and you can stay there for as long as it works for you. Come down, take a break in child's pose. We'll repeat that one more time. Again, keep firming the palms of the hands down. Firm the inside the forearms, like you're trying to spin the forearms down to the floor. Walk your feet forward. And then with the leg that's easier for you, lift it up. Then you can hop a few times, maybe touch the feet of the wall. Try to pick the balance, squeeze the legs together. Point your toes. And keep squeezing the inner thighs together the best you can. Once you come down, take a break in child's pose. Notice how the breath's flowing again, slow and even. Keep firming your palms, and take your toes under. Make your way into downward facing dog. Allow the breath to flow through the entire body. Let's look in between your hands, raise your heels, bend your knees. We'll make our way into seated. Step or jump, cross your shins, have a sit, and then roll down to your back. Bend your knees, soles of the feet down to the floor. Place your palms down, palms pressing down to bridge pose. Firm the inner edges of the feet. Walk the shoulder blades underneath your chest so the chest is broad. Inhale, lift your hips off the floor. And keep pulling the frontal hip bones towards the lower ribs as if you're trying to make the distance between the hips and the ribs get a little smaller. You can clasp the hands behind your back or hold the outsides of the mat and pull it apart. Keep the inner thighs spinning down to the floor. The knees are still about as wide as the hips. And the breath still going all the way to the top of the chest. And release the clasp of the hands. Slowly roll your spine down to the floor, one vertebra at a time. Take a couple breaths here. And repeat that one more time. You can either do bridge pose again and place the block under the sacrum. That's one of the options. And the second option is to come back into bridge the same way, interlacing the fingers behind your back, or take into Urdhva Dhanurasana, hands next to the ears, firming the inner edges of the feet again. You can come to the crown of the head first, readjust the hands if you need, hands about as wide as the shoulders, and then wrap the elbows in and press the arms, try to straighten it. And you see what Javon did? She came on the tip of her toes to give a little more space for her shoulders, walked it in, and then pressed the heels down to the floor. Keep sending the breath to the top of the chest. And take your time here. Stay for as long as it feels okay for you. Whenever you had enough, you can slowly set it down, bring the chin to the chest, set the upper back down to the floor. And then cross your right leg over the left. Cross with your knees close together so the inner thighs are touching. Yes. Open the arms wide to the sides. And you, with your exhale, lower the legs to the left, twisting the torso to the right. Firm the right shoulder down. You can readjust the hips as needed here. And you can smile to the camera. There you go. Keep the breath soft, releasing the tension with each exhale. Noticing the back ribs. Pressing down to the floor with the inhales. Try to melt the right shoulder further down with the exhales. Release the tension on the neck. Inhale, you can bring your legs up again. Switch the cross of the legs, readjust the hips as needed. Take a deep inhale before you twist. And then lower the legs to the right. Twisting the upper back to the left this time. And don't worry about how low the legs go towards the floor. Just keep your shoulder blades connected with the floor the best you can. You can look towards your left hand this time. And breathe. You can slowly untwist. Uncross the legs and bring the knees into your chest. Square the hips again. Hug your knees in. And we'll come back up into a seated position so you can rock back and forth again a few times. Come into a seated. And you can cross your shins. Maybe you can face the camera this time. You can cross the shins in front of each other for Sukhasana or double pigeon. You can show. So this is a Sukhasana first. So on Sukhasana, you're crossing the shins right in center. And you're trying to bring the ankles underneath your knees. And you can stay here. If double pigeon works for you, you can try to stack the shins on top of each other. On top of each other is a bad English, right? On top of the other. And on double pigeon, what I find it's a little easier for me. My hips are kind of tight. So if I bend my bottom knee a little bit, bend this knee a little bit, there we go. I can bring this knee further down. That helps me a little bit. You can try that and see if that works for you. You can stay here with your torso straight up or fold over your legs. Either way. Keep flexing your feet to protect your knees. If you feel any sharp sensations on the outside of the knees, you can come back up, get out of the pose. You shouldn't be feeling anything on the ACL, on the ligaments outside your knees. And just try to stay here as soft as you can. Try to hold as little effort as possible. And keep watching the breath as you do that. Try to get a little softer with each exhale. And maybe release a little more tension on all that stuff around the hips, all those muscles. There's a lot going on. You can walk your hands back, bring up the torso. And then take your time, just switch the cross of the legs. If you did Sukhasana, you can move the knees and the hips around if you need to release the tension, that's okay. And then either way, Sukhasana again or double pigeon. Find your sitting bones on the floor. Try to find that small tilt of the pelvis going forward. And then you can stay with your torso up. if that's enough for you, if you already feel the sensation. Or you can hinge forward any amount. Keep the attention with the breath so the mind stays calm and clear. Slowly come up again. Then you uncross the legs, reach the legs forward. You can move that way again. Find the sitting bones. Feet together. Flex your feet. Grow tall through the sides of the body. Inhale, reach your hands up to the ceiling. And with an exhale, fold into Paschimottanasana. Keep creating length through the upper back by reaching the top of the chest towards the feet. And with the exhale, fold. Release it down. Inhale, lengthen. Come halfway up. Straighten the arms if you're holding the feet. And then reach the hands up to the ceiling. Get long again. Place the hands next to your hips. Put a small bend on the knees, and then you can roll down to your back. Reaching forward or holding the leg. Bend your knee, bring your knees into your chest. Hug it in. You can take into happy baby, rock side to side. Find any movement that you need with the legs. Just pull the feet down, reaching the tailbone down to the floor. Without any rush, take your time. Start moving to the final pose, Shavasana. You can do any variation at home. You can move to a wall to keep the legs up the wall. Or you can put the legs up on a couch, on a chair. Have a lot of options. Have props to prop yourself up. You can let go of controlling the breath. The flow of the breath is normal. Walk the shoulder blades underneath the chest again. And then release any tension you can find from the crown of the head to your toes. You can stay here for as long as you need. This is the final pose. I want to thank you all again for sharing your time with us here on Down Yoga. Please subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up. And if you'd like to give a donation, you can go on the page and you'll find all the information there. Thank you all. Namaste.